Good evening. Tonight we start with new details that have just become available on the case that's been uppermost in all our minds this week, the murder of 2-year-old James Bulger on Merseyside. The crime is so shocking not only because James was so young, but because every parent can identify with his mother, who lost sight of him for just a few moments.
In the past few hours, there have been several advances in the investigation. A psychologist has helped draw up a profile of whoever did it, and we've new pictures of the two boys seen walking off with James from the Strand shopping centre. Other clues are becoming clear tonight as well.
We'll start with that security video picture. The Ministry of Defence has employed the same enhancement techniques that were used during the Gulf War to identify targets. Now, these stills may look a little bit fuzzy still, but they're a huge improvement on the originals. This boy is now fairly recognisable. And just this afternoon, the woman whose child was approached by two boys in that same shopping centre that Friday has picked out these boys from the security videos. Police now firmly believe these are the same two boys who abducted James. It's been widely assumed these two are responsible for the little boy's death, but of course we must keep in mind the possibility that they were trying to help him. In fact, a witness has said that two boys with a toddler asked for directions to a police station. If one of those was you, you don't need me to tell you how important it is that you make contact with the police. You can call us now on 081 811 8181. This lad is between 11 and 12 years old. He's 4 foot 9 inches, slightly chubby, although not overweight. He has a roundish face with a small nose and short hair. Note he has a high hairline. He's wearing a black shiny blouse-on style jacket, which probably has a satin finish. It has elasticated cuffs, possibly with a motif on the left side. The other boy is slightly older, taller and slimmer. He's about 13, with a longer face and pale complexion. He has short, straight black hair. Witnesses remember his noticeable brown eyes and dark eyebrows. Both boys had Liverpool accents. If you recognise them, please call us. We can now trace with greater certainty the route along which James was taken after leaving the New Strand shopping centre. That was just after 20 to 4 last Friday afternoon. He probably went down Park Street, just opposite the centre. Just after 4 o'clock, we cross Hawthorne Road into Oxford Road. These pictures from the security camera at Amec Builders Merchants show 3 girls a short distance behind the boys. Those girls have now been identified. They lost sight of the boys at the top of Oxford Avenue. Then the sightings at the reservoir on Breeze Hill. At about 20 past 4, 3 witnesses saw a toddler. Police are now almost certain it was James, in the company of 2 boys aged between 12 and 14. James was distressed, and there seemed to be a slight injury to his forehead. One of the witnesses demanded to know what was going on, and one of the 2 boys said they'd found the child on the embankment. Did you see the 2 boys and the toddler here on Breeze Hill?
To help you, we can now show you exactly what James was wearing when he disappeared. His outfit was damaged, part of it was missing, and his mother understandably was too distressed at first to give much detail. But we know that his anorak is multicoloured, in fact, identical to this. It had a fairly distinctive lining, and there's a motif here on the front which says, "Don't cross my way." His tracksuit was silvery blue with, as you can see, white stripes down the side, and he was wearing trainers, white trainers with this black inlay here. And here's a picture of a toddler who was dressed as James was when he disappeared.
The next sighting of James is about 3 miles away on Walton Village Road, near St Mary's Church. This is where 2 lads asked a passer-by for directions to the police station. That was about 10 to 5, just over an hour after James went missing. James's body was found on the railway track, which is just a little further along Cherry Lane.
A forensic psychologist tonight helps complete the pattern. He's been through the evidence so far and still has work to do to firm things up, but he's convinced that by the time we finish this appeal, somebody watching Crimewatch will have a pretty good idea of who did this to James. As when children occasionally torture animals, this could, he thinks, have been a prank, a ghastly prank that went disastrously too far. Now, if you know a boy who fits the descriptions we've given so far, see if anything that follows also fits. Since Friday afternoon, his behaviour will have changed. He might be agitated or unusually quiet. He may have wanted to stay at home for much of Saturday, which won't be his normal behaviour. He won't appear to be ill or show that he's unhappy. If anything, he'll try to show no emotions at all. He's likely to be withdrawn. But the changes will be marked enough to be noticeable, and not just to his family, but also, if they think about it, to his friends as well. He may be regularly involved in petty crime like shoplifting. He may bunk off school quite a bit and pass away some of his time in amusement arcades, certainly in the shopping centre. Most importantly, despite some reports to the contrary, the psychologist is almost certain that he lives within walking distance of where James was found.
Well, Superintendent Kirby, the boys we've been appealing to, any boys who know something, may be deterred from ringing, especially after seeing the scenes of public anger after Tuesday night's arrests. They might be very frightened. What can you do to persuade them to ring?
All I can do is to assure them that if they ring us directly at the incident room, or if they contact through a friend or even a solicitor, a member of their family, I can give them every assurance that we will do everything in our capabilities to ensure there's no repetitions of what took place earlier in the week, and we will look after their identity and make sure nobody's aware of it.
And you also need the public's cooperation in that regard too from now on.
We do, and certainly that's not been lacking right throughout the inquiry.
We've heard what the psychologist had to say. What sort of boys do you think you're looking for?
I think what Nick has said covers everything very well. The only thing I would reiterate there is the fact that perhaps their parents are not aware of some of those features, i.e. missing school, stealing, and then going into amusement arcades. But if parents do now identify these features, as distressing as it may be, I would appeal to them to come to us, because there's no doubt that that child needs a lot of care and attention.
With the willingness of the public to help, and now with these new pictures, it's hard to believe that you won't find them. Do you think it is only a matter of time now?
I've got every confidence with the way that the whole inquiry has been going, and the massive amount of help and assistance we've had from all sectors of the public within Merseyside, that will achieve that in the end.
And obviously it's better for them to come to you rather than the other way round.
It is, as we've said right throughout the inquiry. There is every possibility that the boys who abducted the baby from the shopping precinct may not be those at the end who've actually committed the murder, and in fairness to them we must keep a very open mind on it.
It's been reported that you're widening out the inquiry now, although the psychologist believes they are local lads.
Yes, we are widening it out in so much as we're taking it into an area about 3 miles away. But we believe that the identity of the offender will be within that fairly close area. If it's not where they live, it will be friends or relatives.
Now, with so much public concern, the danger is here that you're going to get more calls than you can handle. So who exactly do you want to hear from? What are your priorities?
It is a problem. We are getting so many calls. All I would appeal, and I repeat what I've already put out before, is if anyone's seen baby James anywhere with these 2 boys, please come forward. If anyone's got any other information whatsoever that they may think could be of assistance, not is, but may be of assistance, again, please come to us. But I think even more importantly, I repeat what I've said before, if there's any parents at all who've got any alarm and concern, they must, and I stress that, must make some effort to contact us.
Mr. Kirby, thank you. This is the number, 081 811 8181 here, or you can call Merseyside Police direct on 2 special lines, and that's 051 777 6488, 051 777 6488, or 051 777 2655. That's 051 777 2655.
We now move on to another rather grim case that's made national headlines. Another case, I'm afraid, that seems to be a killing for the sake of it. The victim was 16-year-old Claire Tiltman, and she was picked apparently at random. Almost everyone you see in what follows, fire and ambulance crews, witnesses and friends, are the real people involved who've helped us to reenact events.
Good one! In the second floor! Up a bit!
She was in the fire brigade, the Duke of Edinburgh scheme, and...
She made it quite clear she didn't want a 9-to-5 job. She wanted to go in the fire brigade.
Yeah. That was her intention, to go in the fire brigade. And no one would change it. She was a lovely kid, you know. It's just such a shame.
Claire, she was a good student. She always used to come to the sessions. She was always first here. She had an idea that firefighting was probably going to be what she wanted to do. There are other things within the fire brigade, but she really wanted to be out there fighting fires, possibly driving or even take promotion exams. She was very bright and very intelligent, So I would understand that she could very easily take her leading firefighter's exam and pass, and possibly be in charge of a fire appliance.
Claire! You're going to miss that bus! OK, I'll be down in a minute.
It was the final day of Claire's mock GCSE exams. She'd been sitting school tests for a fortnight and was looking forward to an evening without pressure.
Here, drink this. Good luck with that exam. Huh?
All right, Claire, how are you doing? All right. Have I told you? I've got a job down Pizza Hut.
Oh, great. I was going to pop round later and talk about college and that.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, I'm at typing.
Oh, maybe I won't bother then.
It's only for an hour.
Yeah, all right. I'll come round tonight.
The exams was the last day. She'd done quite well in them, actually. 'Cause she wasn't a particular scholar, but she did work hard. She'd done very well.
All right. How did it go? OK, yeah, I did quite well, I think.
Didn't I?
Yeah, good. Oh, yeah, can I pop down and see Vicky later?
Yeah, of course you can.
Yeah, I want to talk to her about college and all that.
Yeah, she's got in.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, she's really thrilled.
Oh,
yeah.
good.
Claire, are you sure you don't want to lift down?
No, it's all right. I wanted to do my hair first anyway.
Bye then.
All right, bye. See ya.
Normally, I would have run him up there, and possibly even Heather bring her back, because his car had been stolen, so he had my car, like, for work.
Claire had a mile to walk to Vicky's home. Were you driving down the A226, here called the London Road, through Greenhithe, Kent, between Dartford and Gravesend? It's 6 o'clock on Monday a month ago, Monday the 18th of January.
I often go jogging along the London Road towards Holmes Cross when I first noticed Claire walking towards me. On my way home along the same London Road, I again noticed Claire in the distance, just walking towards the traffic lights at the Railway Hotel. Just before the traffic lights, she walked out towards the main road, as if she was going to cross, thus causing me to run in the road. The thing that struck me afterwards, that I thought to myself, oh, thank you for letting me run in the road.
It's not clear why Claire went into this alley. Maybe she was forced here. Did you see anyone nearby?
Come down Providence Street, into Station Road, up towards the traffic lights. I see this car was parked in a very stupid place, half on, half off the curb, right on the traffic lights. And then this young girl come charging out this alley. I remember thinking, bloody kids. After hearing on the news about a young girl being killed and everything, I suddenly realised, suddenly dawned on me that that stupid girl who nearly ran on the road last night was Claire Tiltman.
About 30 seconds later, Michael Godfrey was turning onto London Road.
What's that, Ron? Looks like a person.
It's probably a pile of rubbish.
No, it's a person. I'm going to stop. Because she was against a wall, it looked as though it was a hit-and-run car accident. The obvious thing, it's right by a road. Ron, my passenger, went off and got an ambulance. I've used first aid before, but never to that extent. She just didn't respond. And I continued that until the ambulance arrived, and they then took over.
I don't know, I think it's a road accident.
Has she got a pulse or
No.
breathing?
No pulse. I've been giving her CPR. She's not responded, and there's no pulse.
Vicky? Oh, hello. It's Linda here. Can you send Claire home? She's not there. Right. OK, I'll try Lisa. Thanks.
Want me to take over?
I'm sure that Claire would have sensed that somebody was with her in that last moment. And I think that's quite important for her family to know that she wasn't on her own, and that she was with somebody and that they were caring for her.
I used to play pool, and she took an interest in it. All of a sudden, it seemed overnight, she just clicked.
Because they wanted her to go in the competition on holiday, didn't they?
But she wasn't old enough. Playing pool, she was brilliant. Regularly beat me.
No one likes to think their husband, boyfriend, son, any relative is capable of doing this, but to come forward, because I know that I would have to, because I don't think I could live with myself knowing what that person's done, and maybe he was capable of doing it again.
Owen Taylor, that must be your fear. This guy's going to do it again.
Yes, it is. This was a particularly savage attack. Claire was stabbed several times with a large knife, and I think there's every likelihood that this person could strike again.
It's going to be terribly difficult for anybody who knows the offender, particularly if it's his mum or a girlfriend or somebody, to think it really could be him. I mean, what do you think they should look for? Firstly, does he live in the area, do you think?
I think there's, in fact, I'm convinced that the person either lives in the area, has got connections in the area, or has lived in the area in the past. And I'm equally convinced that somebody in that local community knows who this person is or suspects who they are, and I would simply say to that person, can you honestly live with Claire Tiltman's murder on your conscience? And can you live with the thought that this person may well strike again?
Now, you mentioned she'd been stabbed with a very unusually large knife. It's not the sort of knife someone would sort of carry, like a little penknife or anything. Is there a possibility this guy's got an obsession with knives, a fascination with them?
Certainly couldn't rule that out. I mean, it was a large knife, and it's not the sort of thing you would normally carry around, say, for instance, to do like your normal day's work.
And
so it's an unusual weapon.
Given perhaps to unpredictable violence, outbursts of aggression, which perhaps a girlfriend would have noticed.
I think certainly after committing an offence as ferocious as this, his behaviour would have been abnormal, and someone close to him, a girlfriend, wife, mother, would actually notice a difference in the behaviour.
Finally, just very quickly, that car parks so awkwardly at the traffic lights. You've got to find the driver of that, presumably.
Very, very important to the inquiry, very important witness, and we would like that person to come forward.
OK, well, if that driver was you, or there's any way that you can help, particularly if you just think there is something there that clicks with someone you know, the number here, 081 811 8181. Alternatively, there's a special incident room which has been set up tonight in Maidstone for Crimewatch calls. Take a special note of the number, please, because the line's already busy here, and it may be difficult to get through. The number there is 0622 654 321. Very easy to remember. 0622 is the code for Maidstone, and then 654 321.
And now, after last month's photo call, we had one arrest, and in every other case, the police are significantly nearer tracing the people they're looking for. In 2 instances, the trail now leads to countries abroad. With this month's collection of faces now, here are Detective Constable Jackie Hames and Superintendent David Hatcher.
Edward Mayer had worked at Securicor for 6 months. On Friday the 22nd of January, he made a routine stop at Lloyd's Bank in Felixstowe. His colleague made the delivery, but when he returned, the van and Mayer had disappeared. Police found the van a few minutes later, a mile away in Micklegate Road. All the contents, £1 million, had gone. We believe this Toyota Previa may be linked to the robbery. It had been stolen 2 months earlier from East London and was discovered further along the coast from the Securicor van. And Edward Mayer's car, this Opel Ascona, was discovered on fire 5 days later in Harlow, Essex. Edward Mayer and his family haven't been seen since. Do you know where they are? Mayer is 37, around 5'9" with a heavy build. He has tattoos on both arms and is a heavy smoker. His common-law wife, Deborah Brett, is 27 with a slim build. Their 3-year-old son, Lee, is also missing. If you can help, please ring. There's a very large reward indeed.
Do you know where Delroy Davis is now? Merseyside officers believe he may have information about the murder of 32-year-old Michael Rowledge, who was gunned down outside a shopping precinct in Aintree, Liverpool last October. Davis may also be able to help with an investigation into the illegal importation of £75,000 worth of cannabis resin, which was dropped out of a plane at Tilstock Airport in Shropshire on the 4th of August. Delroy Davis is 35, 6'2", slim and dresses smartly. If you see him, don't approach him. He could be armed. Just let us know immediately if you know where he is now.
And can you help us identify this man who 6 months ago went into Barclays Bank in Sudbury Hill? We believe he may have information about a number of stolen cheques. The next day he was back again. The cashier remembers he withdrew money. He had a London accent and staff say he was very plausible. If you know him, please call.
Mohammed Ramzan lived in Bradford, but locals haven't seen him since last August. Just over 2 years ago, he set up a business in West Yorkshire offering interest-free loans. People had to deposit a large sum of money for a year to qualify for the scheme. Then, last year, investors became increasingly anxious when they were unable to contact him. £350,000 worth of their money has gone missing. He's 44, around 5'4", with a stocky build. His dark hair is receding, although he sometimes wears a wig. If you know where Mohammed Ramzan is now, or you can help with any of our other photocall cases, please call us.
And the number to ring here is always 081 811 8181. That's 081 811 8181.
Victims of rape often feel an irrational sense of shame, even though logically the shame lies squarely with the attacker. And the understandable reaction of a woman who has suffered in this way is to remain quietly anonymous and try to pick up the threads of her life out of the public gaze. Muriel Harvey, however, has shown extraordinary courage. She decided to brave the limelight, confront her experience head-on, and speak out about what happened to her.
I'm a native of Ludlow. I've been back here for the last 30 years. I'm very involved in the community. I've been a magistrate for 21 years. It's a very small, close-knit community. Everyone's a personal friend.
Being Christmas Eve, business in this historic old market town in Shropshire was slowly winding down as the festive season began in earnest. Castle Garage in Corve Street, though, was still busy, as people like this local man were filling up with petrol to last over the Christmas break.
When I first saw the man, I thought he was looking at the second-hand cars. But as I watched him, I changed my mind. He was stood completely still. I thought it was suspicious. Why stand so still at Cole Garage on Christmas Eve? I went to get some water from the tap. He was motionless. He didn't move a muscle.
Inside the garage shop, the security camera shows the man as he comes in to buy a bar of chocolate. This is about 6 p.m. Witnesses remember he was around 30, tall, thin, gaunt-faced, and wearing a very bulky waist-length jacket.
And Joseph also went up from Galilee, from the city of Nazareth, to Judea, to the city of David, which is called Bethlehem.
St. Lawrence's Church was crammed with people at midnight mass. Others were making their way home from various Christmas celebrations.
Hi, it's me. Can you pick me up? I'll see you at the school.
At about the same time, witnesses remember seeing a man in the doorway of the council offices in Corve Street, just across the road from the phone box. He started walking towards Coronation Avenue, away from the town centre.
I went out for a Christmas drink with my workmates and we had a really good time. I was feeling really great, looking forward to Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
I carried on walking towards Ludlow School, and as I neared Burway Lane, I saw this man walking towards me.
Get off me! Leave me alone! Help me get away from that man!
I felt really lucky, but at the same time I was terrified. I was just crying and shaking, and for weeks afterwards I just couldn't go out to the house by myself. I was too frightened.
5 minutes later, as she was reporting the attack to the police, a passing motorist noticed a man in the same area, walking towards the town centre.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, my love. Bless you. Bless you. Bye-bye. Bless you, dear. Bye-bye.
That was a lovely service.
Good, lovely. Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas.
How are you? Bless you for all you've done.
It was about 1:20 when we left the church. I only live about 5 minutes walk away. I went across the square and turned round to look back at the town, quite deserted, and I thought how beautiful it looked. As I went past the buttery, I began to hear the footsteps behind me. Didn't really think anything of it, because I'm used to walking home alone. I've always said that if I couldn't walk home in safety in Ludlow, it would be the end of the world as I know it.
Jolly cold, isn't it?
I didn't think anything, but how do I survive? I told him I was an elderly lady and had a bad heart, but he obviously wasn't convinced. I had a very strong grip round my neck and was becoming bruised.
Mrs. Harvey was dragged into the grounds of Dinham House Museum, where she was raped and subjected to a lengthy and terrifying ordeal. Back on the pavement, where the initial struggle took place, this hat was found.
Well, I walked away feeling extremely angry. I also felt quite heroic that I'd survived. I felt for our own community that there would be tremendous fear, and also that other younger or older women would have suffered much more than I did. And because of all this, because this man has no right to engender fear in our community or in individuals here, I want to see him caught.
Well, she really is quite an inspiration. Mr. Jones, Mrs. Harvey has helped your artist build up a picture of her attacker. How does she describe him?
Well, she describes the man as being a white male, between 30 and 40 years, between 5'8" and 5'10" tall, very slim build, clean shaven, with mousy coloured short hair, receding, and a very high forehead. He was actually dressed, had a chunky bomber style jacket on, dark coloured, and a dark coloured scarf.
Now, the man who attacked the younger woman earlier on that same evening, he wasn't wearing a hat. Do you think it was the same man?
Personally speaking, I do. Bearing in mind that Ludlow is a small market town, and for two incidents such as this to happen on the morning of Christmas morning, so close to each other, I have no doubt whatsoever that both incidents are connected.
What about the man at the garage then? He could have been another man again, or do you think he's the same one?
Well, it's very difficult to know, bearing in mind that he was seen at the garage some 6 hours before the first incident. But of course he is described quite similarly to the ones described, the man described by our victims. But he was wearing a woolen hat, the man in the garage. And of course, as you're aware, we did recover a woolen hat at the scene of the second offence.
We don't know if this is the same hat as the one he was wearing in that security film.
We don't.
This is the one, or a replica of the one that was found near Dinham House, where Mrs. Harvey was attacked.
Yes, it was.
It's a hand-knitted hat. Do you think somebody will recognise that? It's quite distinctive.
Well, it's very distinctive, Sue. It is a black woolen ski-type hat, and it has two distinctive lines going right round its circumference, red and blue, and dependent on how you pull it down over your face as to which colour you would see.
Right, it may or may not belong to the attacker. We need to eliminate it. If you can help, if you recognise any of those details or descriptions, please ring. The number here is 081 811 8181, and more of Mr. Jones's colleagues are waiting for calls at Leominster Police Station, and that number is 0568 612345. So once again, take a special note of the number. Our lines here are quite busy. It's 0568, the code for Leominster, 612345.
Perhaps because the case received so much national publicity over the last week, the phones here have been surprisingly much quieter than we'd anticipated on the case of James Bulger. Nevertheless, there's a lot of information coming through, particularly a surprising number of people who were in the shopping centre who've been able to identify the two boys from the enhanced videos that we've shown. We've got some names coming through. Here's one I've just seen at random, a couple of you messing around with trolleys in one of the stores nearby, and after remonstrating with them, they ran off. So there's another witness there too, and we'll bring you more as we go through the evening. Now they're with brief appeals for help on cases all across the country at the incident desk, and as usual, here are Constable Jackie Hames and Superintendent David Hatcher.
First tonight on Incident Desk, we need your help to identify this man who sexually assaulted a motorist on Saturday the 7th of November. The 24-year-old woman was driving along the A323 near Guildford when her car overheated. She was looking under the bonnet of her white Vauxhall Astra when a man stopped and offered to help her. However, his kindness didn't last. He grabbed the woman and dragged her into bushes. She was knocked unconscious, and it was an hour and a half later before she managed to raise the alarm. The victim remembered her attacker was smartly dressed and wore a shiny dark quilted jacket. He was in his early 30s, around 6 foot, with a strong athletic build. Perhaps you saw him driving away in a dark-coloured car, possibly a Sierra or Granada. Remember, it was the A323 Aldershot Road on Saturday the 7th of November. If you can help, please call Guildford Police Station on 0483 31111. That's 0483, the code for Guildford, 31111.
This is Roxy's nightclub in Sheffield, and on Monday the 30th of November, it was the scene of an armed robbery. At about 6:30 in the morning, 2 men attacked a member of staff as she arrived for work. Threatening her with a gun, they forced her to hand over a large sum of money. The first man was white and about 28, 5'11" with short blonde hair. He was wearing a light-coloured jacket and dark trousers. The second man was black and about 5'7" with a stocky build. He was wearing a dark green balaclava and green Parker jacket. 2 weeks after the attack, these cash bags were found abandoned about 5 miles away in Shire Green. If you can give any information, please call South Yorkshire Police on 0742 570 800. That's 0742, the code for Sheffield, 570 800.
And of course you can call us here in the studio direct on 081 811 8181. Our lines are open till midnight, 081 811 8181.
Tonight we seem to have a procession of crimes which are so mindless that not even hardened members of the underworld have any sympathy for the villains. Once again, in our next reconstruction, anyone who sees what happened, including the culprit's relatives, acquaintances or friends, will want to help make sure these men are caught. The events took place 10 weeks ago in Doncaster, early on the morning of Thursday, December the 3rd.
Hello. Sorry to trouble you, love, but do you think I could use your phone? Only mine's out of order.
Yeah, of course you can.
Oh, you are a love. Dear, yours is dead as well.
Sierra 4 to Sheffield Control. Can I have a radio check, please?
Receiving loud and clear, over.
10-4, over and out.
Meanwhile, as the van set off for Doncaster, a motorist in Cantley was surprised to see men waiting by the roadside.
Those buggers are up to no good.
I noticed that the driver, in fact, turned away and covered his face with his hands, which again I thought was very suspicious.
Get down! Open the door! I said open the door! Open the door!
After I was shot, there wasn't an awful lot to think about, other than
you know, how fast the blood was pouring out.
I stopped to let the car go past, but as it was coming quite slowly, I realised I could cross the street in front of it. I turned back and saw that the car had stopped. A man jumped out of the back door with a ponytail. I thought this was a strange place for someone to be dropped off.
It was stocky, a bit of a beer belly on him. He was wearing a blue boiler suit and it was heavy-footed and it didn't run away very fast. It was more of like a jog.
Nor did he run far. He joined his partner in a white Montego.
I was waiting at the bus stop in Ellis Road. A white Montego flew past me, going at a crazy speed. I thought this was rather insane driving. And then looked towards Bawtry Road and couldn't understand why he had mounted the pavement.
Were you in that queue? Do you remember this? Then, by a coincidence, the woman in Bellevue who first noticed that the phones were cut was a witness to the fate of the Montego. The robbers probably ran to vehicles they'd parked nearby. A housewife saw a white Sherpa pickup, followed by a dark, maybe green hatchback car. From Bellevue, they had easy access to the motorways. From here, they could run to anywhere in Britain.
There are occasions after an injury such as this where the limb is salvageable. In this particular case, you can see from these lead pellets around the knee joint that the injury to the soft tissue was so catastrophic, leaving him in effect with a foot that had no blood supply, no nerve supply, no feeling, and a foot with no effective muscle to move it. And in this particular case, we were left with no option but to amputate.
There's only one kind of emotion that passes through your head, and that is the one that you will be incomplete. You won't be what you were before. But it's a very odd thing to look at, to see yourself with this odd-looking thing strapped onto you. I wouldn't know these people at all if I ever saw them again. And from the point of view of preventing someone else being hurt, these people need to be caught before some unfortunate person becomes hurt worse than I am.
And John, hope that is your fear, that somebody else is going to get hurt.
It is indeed. I'm very concerned that this gang will strike again, because I know for a fact that they've been responsible for a number of robberies across the Doncaster area. I'd like to say, Nick, that this was no accident. This was a deliberate shooting at both the guard on the floor and at the driver of the van. And I'm certain that there's someone out there who knows who is responsible, and I urge them to come forward before someone else is seriously injured or even worse.
Now, you think that this group is based, if not locally, somewhere at least in the north of England? I mean, they're not travelling down from Scotland or in from Wales. It's...
I tend to feel that they're based in the northern part of England.
Now, what... Those cars that were stolen, December the 1st, I think, they must have been kept somewhere till the 3rd of December.
That's right. They were hidden, obviously, for 2 days, and they were brought back out to carry out this job, not having been changed in any way. So I'm particularly interested in where those 2 cars were during those 2 days.
OK, this video fit that we've got here of one of the chaps, he was seen by the Red Rover.
Yes, he was. He's described as about 25 to 35 years of age, 5'7" to 5'9", with dark hair which was receding. He had an oval face and is believed to be medium build.
There is, I should say, a thumping great reward for this because of all the cases. When you put it together, it amounts now to £40,000. If you can help, please do call 081 811 8181. Someone's life may depend on it. Or you can call the Doncaster Robbery Incident Room. That's on 0742 570 800. 0742 570 800.
And our Aladdin's Cave of unclaimed and stolen property this month comes from 4 different forces: Essex, Suffolk, Lincolnshire and the Met in London. Eric Knowles, over to you.
Thank you. Well, I'm quite taken by these, this pair of glass bonbon dishes. Well, not so much the glass dishes, but more the silver frames. I love this cast swan, and he rests upon a little lion's paw foot. Now, they've got English hallmarks, but they were imported. If you're the owner, you'll know where they were imported from. 4 bronzes, 3 of them after the antique. In fact, I came across this chap in Pompeii. He's known as the Dancing Faun of Pompeii. Made in around about 1890, but a little bit later perhaps is this fella. He is solid bronze. Figure of Puck playing his pipes. He's got those little pointed ears, so I think Puck rather than Pan. Now, if you prefer your modelling to be in a more lighter vein, what about a nice pair of Dresden figurines? A lady and her gallant, absolutely smothered in flowers. They have had some restoration, and once again, if they're yours, you'll know where they've been restored. Also covered in flowers is this lovely, it's a clock in the manner of Verny Martin. I'm intrigued by this little panel down here of 2 lovers. It seems to be de rigueur in the 18th century to take along a lute player just to serenade your sweetheart. But if your forte is for indoor gardening, I suppose this is really a sort of the Rolls-Royce of plant stands. Louis XVI in style, alas, later, but it lifts to reveal a well that would take, well, at least a dozen geranium plants. Now, no self-respecting lady in the 18th or the 19th century would be without her bonheur de jour. This is an example from the 19th. It's in walnut, it's English. It has a nice little sort of writing panel, which sort of cries out for an inkstand. And we just happen to have an inkstand here. English silver, 1907. The interesting feature is the little crest, a double-headed eagle. Nice shape. Equally interesting shape is this box, silver gilt, William IV, about 1834. But in the hinge top is a mother-of-pearl panel, and I think it's carved with the Angel of the Annunciation. Interesting use of shell. Interesting use of shell here also. Base metal swan, but it gets, from me, perhaps marks out of 10 for originality, 10 marks for artistic impression, 0.
And the police number to call is 0522 558 508. The number here in the studio is 081 811 8181.